Yo, we have these bubblies at work, and so I've been drinking them every now and then because they're like 0 carbs and it's like flavored water. Okay, every now and then it's good. But I sent you guys that picture where the tab, it was just like, hey, you. I was like, no, you, bitch. Like, get out of here. Fucking pomegranate ass water. Get over here.
What was the name of that water? What was the brand?
I'm pretty sure they're bubblies.
Bubblies. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
This episode is brought to you by Bubbly.
Bubbly.
What was the flavor you had?
I had pomegranate, I've had blackberry, I've had passion fruit, I've had mango, I've had pineapple, I've had lemon lime, I've had raspberry, and then did I say blackberry? I had blackberry as well.
You're fucking with me.
No, I had my boss went to Walmart the other day and he stocked our fridge with bubblies, and he bought like all of the flavors.
Like
because
a variety
he was like,
pack, or did he get like individual? Like, I'm getting 24
of pomegranate,
24 blueberry.
It was a packs of 8, and it was 8 of this, 8 of that, 8 of this, 8 of that. I could almost tell you like on datas, like the lemon lime one rocks, dude. People love that one. That one flew off the shelf.
Lemon
lime, fridge.
Okay.
The pineapple one, lemon. Also, I did that one. I've had basically one of every one.
Wow, look at that. I have the LaCroix here. Tangerine's pretty solid. I'm a big fan of that one.
There was a batch of LaCroix that we had that had Mexican flavors. I worked for a Spanish language education company. Okay, oof. You know,
it's not.
You know, you were like, what was it, tagine? You fucking no, I can't remember. It was like cucumber, cherry cucumber, or something like that. Grape was involved, but they were in Spanish, so I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. It was La Croix with some Spanish.
All right, well, let's get into this episode. Welcome back to Punch Drunk Nerd. We've been rambling about LaCroix, about bubblies and booblies. It's been me. It's me. It's not been me. It's me, Luis Gonzalez, and with me is
Miguel Sanchez
and Deadpool.
And every week we are talking about nerd shit. This week we're going to talk about Ahsoka, and 2 episodes have dropped, so we're going to talk about those 2 episodes, and we have a guest. So tune in to see who that is. But before all that, we're going to talk about the news. We got some trailers, and we have some news. First big set of news here, guys. Ed, what's happening here? Okay,
Ed, this is you, baby.
Ed, this was perfectly timed because I've been watching this show for the past couple months, and I'm about to finish the show. All right, tell us what I'm getting excited about.
Okay, well, so yes,
look at him.
Paramount Plus just released some new stills and a teaser trailer for their renewal of Frasier, coming
salad and scrambled eggs.
Exclusive 10-episode season in October 13th. Now,
Luis, I love that you're into it, but Ed is beaming right now. Look at that smile, dude.
No, I'm just excited about Luis is excited because I do love Frasier. It just like stole. I never thought I would be a fan of Frasier. I just never thought it would happen. Sarah started watching it one day. I was hooked, and I just feel like that's just the pretentiousness in me. I just like understand him so well. And
when I come to your house, you need to offer me a sherry, Ed. Okay?
Oh, fuck yeah, with some port. Yeah, absolutely.
He's got that glass too, I bet.
I bet he does.
You know I do. But yeah, so this is, I have mixed feelings in that, like, it's just one of those renewals that we're seeing so much of right now.
Yeah.
In the streaming world. It's just like any studio that, had that property, you bet they're going to renew it, you know?
Make money. Yeah.
If not that, they're going to have a reunion kind of special. But yeah, so I found out that Niles and Daphne Moon, those characters, David Hyde Pierce, and I'm blanking on the actress's name, but they're not returning, and those are 2 of the best characters in Frasier.
And Martin Crane's not going to be there because obviously
he's dead.
Oh, R.I.P. Well,
yeah, and Eddie won't be there, and so you're just like you have this that's the cast.
The dog, Miguel.
Yeah, it's like that's the cast. What do we have? Roz and Frasier just hitting it up. You know,
Roz,
like,
Frasier. Oh, his first wife. Why am I blanking? Lilith.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just it's gonna be. I want to say it's gonna be a little odd. I feel like
his agent, I believe his agent, which she's my absolute favorite. Yeah,
she's great.
BB.
Yes,
BB, right?
Yeah.
Oh man, Miguel, you're missing out. But,
what's the guy with the dog? The guy he wasn't there for that long, but he was like hound dog or wolf dog.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
He was like a sports DJ guy.
Yeah. Bulldog.
Yeah, honestly, so you put this in the show notes
he was
today.
also a problematic character.
He was problematic. Yeah, I guess you can't bring it back. But when you said no Niles and no Daphne on here, I wrote WTF on this thing because I couldn't believe it. Like it won't. I'm a little bit scared because
how does that work? Yeah,
without like
that's
dynamic.
what I'm worried about. Yeah, what if they're not there? Is it really Frasier?
Yeah.
Anymore,
bouncing off of these people, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
you kind of have these straight people bouncing off of his like ridiculousness.
Yeah, or just in Niles's case, it's his similarities to Frasier.
Right,
they're both just, and then I love Daphne; she's great. But yeah, it will be a shame to not have Martin there because he's kind of like the emotional heart of the show too. So it's interesting. You kind of hope that it's good. Fingers crossed. We'll find out. Obviously, we'll have to talk about it. Like
every week, it'll be like our Succession or House of the Dragon.
I am honestly more intrigued to watch. Forgot we're recording right now. I'd be more intrigued to watch Frasier in its entirety. Plus this new season before I would watch some other shows we're going to talk about on the podcast a little bit later.
So yeah, check out Frasier coming on Paramount Plus October 13th, 10 episodes. He must be doing podcasts now, right? Like that's got to be his thing.
Oh, for sure.
Kelsey Grammer?
No, Frasier.
Oh, absolutely, 100%.
Because the time of like, you know, talk radio in that sense where you're kind of giving help is long and gone. Like they don't do that anymore.
No, absolutely not.
So he's got to be giving advice.
Yeah, just talking about like mental health.
Yeah.
And just talking to himself, I bet, honestly.
Right.
But where are you at? Just out of curiosity. We can move on, but I just want to know where you're at.
I mean, spoilers, who gives a fuck? It's been out forever.
Yeah. They don't exist.
What's it called? So Niles and Daphne are married, and Daphne in real life got pregnant, and so they're
covering it up.
They did all these horrible fat jokes to her, and I was like, "Oh my god,
that's so terrible."
It was kind of rough. I will say that was rough.
After they finally hook up.
I've gotten past.
It goes downhill. It goes downhill.
Oh really?
I will say this: I did not like the ending of the show, but I still love it so much. There's so much content between those two, and I shouldn't say that because I do want you to finish it.
No. It's our like morning routine. We wake up, we have coffee, we watch Frasier, and that's like
it's one of those.
Oh no, it's like it's a morning routine. Like we watch a couple episodes, and that's kind of how we start our day. And I
love that for you, Louis.
Because you're
like both of you, you and Sarah. That's what an amazing. What a life, you know what I mean?
It is nice.
I don't think about waking up and starting my day being like, let me just like bang out a couple episodes of my favorite show. Yeah,
with a nice cup of coffee. You know what I mean? We're having like coffee. We might have some.
That's
eggs.
that California life, man.
Yeah, dude.
I wish.
Luis, let me ask you this. This is kind of like I've been thinking about rewatching Dexter. You watched that show, right?
Yeah.
He's nodding yes for those of you not for listening on the podcast audio only. I was thinking about that, the Dexter reboot that they did when they came back for like 10 episodes or whatever. Did you watch that?
I did watch that. Yeah.
Thumbs up or down? Just like off your heart. We don't have to talk about it.
I mean, it was okay.
I heard it was shit.
Yeah, I
don't think
did too. I did
know
too.
people may say it was like shitty, but I don't know. It was
But
okay.
I never watched the whole show. I didn't like it.
Yeah.
I
didn't
love
get it.
Dexter. I've been thinking about getting back into it.
I have a little soft spot for Dexter, so maybe like I can overlook it, but I think it was fine. Like it gave me what I wanted. The ending wasn't. It's fine. You know what I mean? It was fine.
That's what I'm worried about with the Frasier talk. Is like, oh, okay, is it going to come back and it's just going to be like,
Well, I remember when Will and Grace came back for like
and that
years.
stretched on for a minute.
That might be the new show. So we watched Will and Grace when the new season came back, and it was still pretty funny. Like they kept it up, and because most of the cast was still there. So
and I think that plays a lot into it. If you can get the core group back, it's worth the watch. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But this whole idea of like the 2 or 3 of the main ensemble not coming back, he goes, okay, why are we doing this? It's like those episodes, to be honest, of The Office when Michael Scott wasn't there anymore. It's like, okay, maybe it's good, maybe it's not. Why are we doing it though? You know?
Exactly. Yeah, because they start just leading on the characters more, just like their isms, like giving into what people expect. It's not challenging anymore, really. You're just doing it for lols. But
yeah, it's like getting a BLT and just getting the B. All right, so moving on over to the next topic. Zach's what? Did that make sense?
Now that I'm thinking about it, it absolutely makes sense. You're talking about just like all the bad stuff, but it's good stuff, but it's the bad stuff. Like the thing you want out of the BLT is the bacon.
The bacon.
Yeah. What did you say?
I said the B.
The B.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Okay, all right. No, I think we're on two opposite ends.
Bacon,
of the
lettuce, and tomatoes. If you expect bacon, lettuce, tomatoes, and mayo, and you only get dry ass bread with some crunchy ass bacon. I mean, that's still going to be good, right. I guess. Maybe I should pick
that's
T.
what I'm saying. Go fuck yourself on because
I should have picked like T, like tomato.
T or L. You know what I mean? Just like straight L.
I said B because it was the first one of the whole BLT group. Okay, if it was LT, I would have said L. If it was ELT, I would have said T.
No, I'm saying that was an excellent metaphor for the situation.
Respectfully. If you are given 3 options, bacon and then separately lettuce and separately tomato, you could argue either like bacon is the top.
Right. Yeah. No, okay. I made a mistake. I was trying to be quick.
There is no sandwich without that. Like in England, that's literally a sandwich. It's called a bacon butty.
I would eat that.
Bacon and bread, and usually with butter. For the extra.
Damn.
Life.
All right.
Extra years.
Well, that's what Frasier's going to be. It's going to be a bacon buddy. So we got some more news here. We got our boy, Zack Snyder's back at it again, not making DC movies, but he's going to make video game movies. Gears of War. Miguel, have you heard about this?
Oh man, I was just reading about it today. I only had an Xbox for a short period of time. I've never actually played Gears of War. I understand it's a very popular. But I'll be able to talk about it.
Yeah,
I understand it's a very popular franchise. I think it's kind of in the same vein as like a Borderlands property movie. You know what I mean? Like both of those in my mind spark a similar like whatever. Yeah, I don't know. Video game properties are very, very hard to adapt. And it doesn't matter who's doing them. They almost always kind of like leave you wanting more, in a bad way.
Yeah.
And I'm also super burnt out on Zack Snyder. Like, I don't even think it's him at this point. I think it's just the way the internet reacts to Zack Snyder. You know, every time his name comes up, it's just like a big circle jerk. Yeah, but in
the sense where it causes a lot of opinion and discussion,
debate.
Yeah.
You throw the name in, people are going to be stirs the pot. Yeah.
There's just so few Zack Snyder movies that I've actually seen that I went, oh my god, I loved that movie. Most of the time I was like, oh okay. Like I think he's competent, but I think a lot. I think he's got he's got something. He's got a little zhuzh.
He's a music video guy. I feel like he could make a really good music video.
Yeah. Like sometimes visually it's amazing, but it's just like. We've talked about this, but like, how many times are we going to do the slow-mo,
Yeah.
And I think, I know you're talking Gears of War, but I assume we're going to talk about Rebel Moon in a minute as well.
Yep.
And I just, because I don't care for Star Wars and Rebel Moon just seems like a Star Wars knockoff, I could give 2 fucks about this. You know what I mean? I'm so over it.
I will be.
You guys buckle up. Buckle up
Yeah,
for my
yeah.
opinion.
I know. Coming up. Listen, I don't know if I was just in a good mood. Maybe I had too much chocolate. But when I watched Rebel Moon, I was a little part of me was like, I might watch it. You know what I mean? I was like, I might watch it.
I'm just trying to picture that moment. That's all.
Yeah, I was like, okay, that was kind of all
I
right.
just had some chocolate. I'm feeling good.
Yeah.
Also, like
Is it gonna be
what's
perfect?
what's
But no.
Luis's chocolate? You know what I
Oh,
mean?
dude, there was some Australian chocolate today, and so I took 3 of them.
You said you took them.
3 of them?
Yeah.
Yo, baby, I took 3 chocolates today. All right, I'm mad high, sugar high. All right.
What are the chocolates? Let's see. They are
They were 3 individual.
No, they're Cadbury's. They're Cadbury chocolates, and they're made from real chocolate from Australia. But we have Freddo and Carmela Koala.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know Carmela Koala.
Yeah, because
I know,
it's Australian.
Freddo the Frog.
Yeah, Freddo the Frog.
Freddo. Yeah.
Carmelo
where do you
Koala.
think they got their chocolate?
Where do you think they got their chocolate? Oh, he had to walk away. He hates Australians. Yo, and shout out to our one Australian listener. We, welcome. Ed hates you. You know what I mean?
We love you, though.
Support our Patreon.
Rebel Moon, coming from Zack Snyder. It's obviously his oh, look at that. He came and brought a Cadbury Dairy Milk chocolate.
Eat it right now, Ed.
Cadbury's.
Cadbury.
Look how sexy that wrapper is. I mean, it's like a metallic purple.
I feel like I'm watching Willy Wonka.
It's cold, so I kept it in the fridge. Yeah, you think if I open the corner, there'll be like a little whistle when the golden ticket appears?
Show it one more time.
Oh, yeah.
Don't open it. Show it to us.
Oh.
No, you fuck.
There we go.
There
it was upside down. Awesome. Rebel Moon. What are your thoughts about Rebel Moon, Ed? We talked about Rebel Moon.
It looked really boring.
Hell yeah.
I just did. It just looked like images.
It is.
Like,
I will be getting
exactly.
I'll be getting blazed and watching this. Okay, I'm just.
We had a slow motion
Visuals.
hug. There's somebody's hand, albeit a droid's hand, running across a field of grain. Like, how many fucking times have we seen that?
Did we see that shot? Yeah.
Tune in this December when I review this movie.
I will watch it.
Can I tell you?
So I can dog on it.
In the same vein of
Well,
all
it might
this,
be great. It might be great. But I'm with Miguel in that I'm so over the Zack Snyder thing.
I know.
I think he's on this weird pedestal right now, and but this does feel like a movie that just didn't take off, and so Netflix is just I'm gonna ride that Zack Snyder ride. And they're already talking about director's cut. I was like, it's coming out.
Oh my god!
Just release it. Just fucking release it. That is the stupidest shit. It's just
when the Gears of War announcement came out, I was like, I can already hear people saying, "We want the Gears Snyder cut already." You know what I mean? They want it before.
Is that the only way you can experience Zack Snyder's? Watch some shitty version and watch another version that's maybe mildly better, only because it's an hour longer.
That's what I mean about I'm really not trying to hate on Zack Snyder as as a person or director, you know what I mean, in the craft. It's more so just the response to the moment his name comes up. It's like, ugh, I don't want to have this conversation. I don't want to talk about whatever you think is important. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I will say this, for something that I think is important. The sci-fi movie of the year that I'm looking forward to, besides Dune 2, is it going to come out this year? Who knows?
The Creator?
The Creator. Dude, I am so hyped for that movie. I think that one... I think that's the sci-fi movie to watch. I hope, I hope Dune doesn't come out this year, so the Creator can kind of get that
blossom.
Yes, dude.
It's looking
great, but I really do want to see part 2 of Dune. Selfishly, Dune 2.
No, actually, that looks amazing. I love Dune. Can't wait.
So that's it. Watch the Creator. That's our news. Very short, but we're gonna jump right into Ahsoka right now. Here we are, ladies and gentlemen. We are ready to talk about Ahsoka, and I brought in my friend, my amigo, our special guest, Tim. Everybody say hello to Tim. Claps.
What's up?
Hi, Tim.
Clap, 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 snaps, clap, snaps. I'm really excited to be here. I listen to you guys very often. I haven't told you that yet. off air, but I do listen to the podcast. I'm really excited.
I couldn't believe it. I asked him, I was like, hey, Tim, I know you're into Star Wars. I know you saw the Ahsoka early premiere before I did. You have a lot of opinions. Would you love to come on the podcast? It's a small podcast, I mean, it's not really big. And he's like, yeah, dude, I listen to the podcast. I know about it. And I was like, oh my goodness. I just started getting all, red in the cheeks in this Italian store. And I was so honored, No, dude, I'm so happy you're on. I want to talk Ahsoka. Every time we meet up, we're talking Clone Wars, we're talking Mandalorian, we're talking Obi-Wan, and now it's Ahsoka, this big character that we've all been kind of waiting for ever since she's kind of popped up. I didn't catch Clone Wars when it came out. I kind of followed up with it after the fact. And, everybody was talking about Ahsoka. I was like, yeah, okay. And as you go on that journey, and Ed, he's also watched Clone Wars as well. Not Rebels, but Clone Wars. As you kind of go through that journey, you start to understand everybody's, obsession with Ahsoka and seeing why she's such a valuable character. Miguel, on the other hand, has not seen Clone Wars or Rebels. He's just, basic Star Wars fanboy.
Vibing.
But it's perfect because you're going to come in and give us your opinion.
That was stronger than I would have said. You know what I mean? I don't think
I hate Star Wars is what Miguel
is more what I think. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we're going to get into it right now. Okay, so basically what's happening here is Ahsoka, what we get is everybody's trying to hunt down this guy named Thrawn. Okay, Miguel, his name is Thrawn. He's a Grand Admiral. The Republic has won. The Battle of Endor is over, and this is after Return of the Jedi. So we have the New Republic. And the Empire, they're not going away. So they're going to come back. They want to rebuild. They want Thrawn. And obviously Ahsoka wants to stop that. And we kind of start our journey from there. Let's just do general thoughts real quick. Ed, I'm going to start with you since you're kind of in the middle ground with everybody. What were your thoughts in the episode?
We're talking about 1 and 2, right?
1 and 2, yeah.
Okay,
just general thoughts.
So overall, yes. Overall, I'm kind of middle ground right now. It seems to be a little slow. Visually, it looks really good, and I'm intrigued because coming out of Clone Wars, Ahsoka was definitely one of my favorite characters coming out of that show, and she has one of the best character arcs during that show, and the fact that she's kind of an outcast Jedi is really intriguing to me. So seeing where her story picks up, obviously we've seen her in The Mandalorian and Book of Boba Fett, I guess, briefly. But you don't really get a full sense of where she's at. Now, that might have changed over the course of Rebels, which I plan on getting to eventually. I just haven't yet. But, yeah, so for those reasons, I'm here for it. You know what I mean? It's got my curiosity. I'm always down for new Star Wars content. I just hope, we got Andor last year, so I have high expectations of any show going forward because it can be done. Star Wars can be done well. So, like I said, I feel like this is kind of a slow start. So I'm curious to see cautiously optimistic to see what we have going forward.
Hell yeah. Tim, what about you? I'm going to throw it to you.
As a really big fan of Ahsoka, both the character and the show so far, I do kind of agree. There are, slow, but, there's arguments against that, I guess filler material when you're talking about slow moments, but you gotta pick and choose your battles, right? We all want longer episodes of these Star Wars TV shows that are coming out. And when I think about it, I know on the internet, a lot of people are talking about when she's finding the map in that first episode that draws on really long. But what else would you fill that time with? If you think about the episode as a whole, it's not like you can introduce a new scene for just a minute, right? And you probably wouldn't want any of the other scenes to be dragged out for a minute as well. So it's kind of I let that kind of stuff pass. So I really liked these first 2 episodes. I have my own nitpicks with certain scenes, but yeah, I really, really enjoyed these 2 episodes.
I'll go and give my thoughts next. Look, when the first scene popped up, I was like, I'm here for it. When we got that red scroll scroll coming up,
Oh,
and
yeah.
just like
Mhm.
the whole that whole setup. The first scene, I was locked and hooked, and my mind was like, "Let's get this man a movie," because the visuals, the framing, the blocking, the silhouettes. I mean, this man he grew up in the animation world, and everyone, the way they looked, the poses, it was just like, yes, I'm here for this kind of like Andor is that groundy, gritty, kind of more adult thing. But this is still Star Wars, where it's kind of have to have like little fun, little camp, but
Yeah.
also really powerful imagery. And I think that they kind of did that. But then as it goes on, it starts to meander a little bit. The same situation we're talking about. The pace is a little bit here and there. And I know that with performances, especially in Star Wars, like, yes, it can be cheesy, but it's like no, like that's kind of okay because there's a lot going on with it. But some of the performances I had a little bit issue. It felt a little like almost too flat. And so that didn't help with the pacing as much as well, because it's like we're going slow and the performances feel a little flat. But outside of that, I'm enjoying some of these newcomers that we have with these kind of like other non-Jedis. What's it called? Balin and Shin or something like that. Shin Hati. And at the end of the day, I feel like this felt like a pilot episode of a major series. A lot of pilots aren't that great in the first place because they have so much to set up. And now that we've kind of hit the end of episode 2, I'm hoping that we are ready to just kind of rock and roll forward. But yeah, Miguel, all right, hit us, baby. As somebody who's brand new, we want to know.
Yeah. So, I've never watched any of the shows. I know this character just because of the internet, and the love for this character. Man, I was just kind of underwhelmed through most of it. There was a couple moments that like, ooh, okay, let me pay attention. I was watching while I was at work, so I was doing things, but so every now and then I would have to like pause and really be like, whoa, what's happening? This is kind of good right now. I one of the criticisms I read online was the lightsaber duels, the lightsabers. I think Luis, maybe you even mentioned this in our text chat. How the lightsabers look different, and people are like having like kind of issues with that. I didn't have any issues. Every time the lightsaber like a duel would happen, I was like, okay, this is fun. I get it. Same with Tim. I have some nitpicky things that I won't get to just yet. I'll talk about them in a second. But just overall, I was like, I couldn't wait to stop watching this. Yeah, I was like, okay, if Ed and Luis want to like watch the show and like we talk about it every week, like I'm just not gonna do that. I was like, I'll just like hang out and vibe for a little bit. It's no big deal. I did have a hard hitting question.
Yeah.
I don't know this character very well, so any one of you can help me understand this. Ahsoka, she's the orange one.
Yeah.
What are these things on her head?
They're like
what are
tentacle hair.
Montrals.
It's hair?
Mm-hmm.
Say it again?
So it's formally known as montrals. You could also call them or refer to them as head tails. And yeah, it's similar to like hair. So like when we first met, collectively we as the audience first met Ahsoka as like a teen on the Clone Wars movie, they were very short. They were like up to her chin.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So they grow as she ages.
Okay.
Which is a whole
getting
other.
into the nitty-gritty details of this.
That's why I'm here.
Show.
There's a character on the High Council in the Jedi in the prequels.
Yeah.
Who has all the way kind of rocking it all the way down. She's working.
She was
with
in charge of the clones.
There you go, in charge of the clones. And that was like a whole debate too, because like in Rebels, her head tails were like a lot longer, and then when they had the live action, they were like, oh, it's a lot shorter, and people are like, okay, you're just gonna have to live with it because it's hard to do that kind of longer prosthetic, I'm always like afraid of her like moving around, because Ahsoka, she's a quick fighter, she's very agile, and so that was like the one other thing I was like worried to see how that translates into live action. I'm always worried like, oh no, are the like so much to manage, you know what I mean? She's so fun. Miguel, as somebody who hasn't seen Clone Wars or Rebels,
sure.
I mean, were you able to kind of follow along like this character, like Sabine, and all these other things that were kind of these relationships?
I did. They do a really good job about, obviously, they're assuming people like me are going to watch the show and not watch X number of seasons of whatever came before it. So obviously they do a really good job of like, hey, this is the information. I'm like, okay, feed me. Yeah, so I mean, it was kind of easy to follow the story. It wasn't super crazy. Yeah, I think it set me up exactly where I needed to be, and just kind of okay, I'm on the journey.
Okay.
The opening crawl helped a lot too.
A
'cause
lot.
There are characters I'm not familiar with. I keep hearing about Thrawn and
Thrawn.
Thrawn. His character through my friend Sean, who we should have on for another episode if he's watching this, because he's a big fan of Rebels and Clone Wars, and he like Thrawn is one of his favorite characters.
We'll just throw Miguel out, bring Tim back, bring
let me
Sean, and
let
then
me just
have
hop off real quick.
Yeah,
let's call
That's
Sean
fine.
right now.
I can go hang out. It's cool.
but I love that they had that opening crawl because it did set a time and a place kind of thing, and just kind of following through the tradition of Star Wars, which they've experimented with from show to show. So it's interesting that they brought that back, and it's unique to itself. It's coming straight up. It's not going away from the camera.
I definitely stood up when I saw that crawl. I was like,
I
was
happening? Very excited.
And
I
then
was
it was just kind of like,
you have my attention.
The music in
yeah.
the background was like I forget whatever the music was, very captivating. I was like, okay, here we go. And I just
Dave Filoni at work,
jumping into the action. Like this is Dave Filoni understanding George Lucas's sensibility. You know what I mean? And I don't know. Tim, what about you? I know they have to explain these characters to people who haven't seen the show, but as someone who has seen it, did it seem, I don't know, like why are we talking about these characters? Why, let's just keep moving forward, or were you okay with kind of this exposition that was happening?
I think I was fine with this exposition, because for me, it's doing that for audiences who haven't watched the animated series, both Clone Wars and Rebels, but it also is adding. So it's not just like, here's a recap. So I'm not sitting there as someone who knows all the backstory being like, oh God, I know this. It is providing new material. But I think for quite a bit of fans, people are looking for, okay, what's the story with this Ahsoka lady? But they had already put out in the media, Dave had said specifically, this is pretty much Rebels season 5. So I knew going in that it wasn't really just going to be about Ahsoka. It is going to be an ensemble story. And that's why a lot of these first 2 episodes are about Sabine, more so than they are about Ahsoka.
Dude, yes. I remember as I was watching it, I was like, what is the kind of the arc that Ahsoka's really going through? She's just being a badass, and she's being, her stubborn self, where she's pushing through things. But you're right, this isn't an Ahsoka story. This is Sabine kind of rising up and taking up the mantle to be,
at least for now,
again.
right? Like I really hope that the remaining 6 episodes are like, okay, everyone who doesn't know about Rebels and why Sabine is close to Ahsoka, like, here you go, you got that. Now let's focus on Ahsoka and
the story.
Exactly, yeah. So if it's still like this, moving into episodes 3 and 4, I will be, getting a little bit annoyed at that. But I genuinely don't think that's what's going to happen. I think that's why they released episodes 1 and 2 together, so that you weren't like, okay, here's 1, it's about Sabine. And then you're like, all right, cool, whatever.
Yeah.
Next week, here's episode 2 separately. Oh, it's still about Sabine. I think that would really turn people off. The reason, the fact that it came out together, you're just like, okay, here's a whole block of this particular character. Let's move on now.
And we've seen those different variations throughout every single Star Wars series so far. The Andor specifically, when that first started airing, they released the first 3 episodes, maybe, or the first 2 episodes.
I think it was the first 3.
But with what that show did was kind of in the same formula as Clone Wars, and we've discussed this, is that they have like a 2 to 3 episode story arc. And that's like, you want to see that go. It's through Andor's perspective, but like it's like a different location, different characters, different goal, essentially.
Can I make up like little mini movies? Yeah. Go for it.
Can I do a quick tangent in relation to Andor real quick? Sweet, cool. I really did. You guys watch why am I blanking on the name? The League of Legends show, Arcane. Did you guys watch that show?
I did watch Arcane, yes.
on Netflix. Well, they released.
Yeah.
I think they did 4 weeks. That's how long the show ran, airing new episodes. It was only 4 weeks, but it was releasing 3 episodes each week. I really thought that's what Andor was going to do, and I think that show specifically would have benefited from doing that, because then you would have gotten, here's this chunk of the story next week, here's this chunk of the story next week, same. I was a little thrown when they released 3 the first week, and then it was 1 episode a week after that. I don't think this show would benefit from that, but that was just a quick tangent. I liked the 3 episodes for Andor.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I remember watching Arcane too. They're very structurally similar in that sense where each kind of 3 or 4 kind of create like a little mini movie, and let's see I guess let's talk about just kind of favorite moments or something that stuck out. Tim, when you watched it, you watched on the big screen on the theater. That's incredible. Is there anything about this that you were just like you fell in love with, or something that you wanted to talk about?
Yeah, I think so I was very fortunate to watch it at the theater in Tomorrowland in Disneyland, with some other people who were there for press, and this particular show, compared to some of the other Disney Plus shows, is very cinematic. Off the top of my head, I don't know who the cinematographer is, but they are really going for, hey, this is a Disney Plus show, but we want to give you the feeling that you love with the Star Wars movies. I see that very clearly. Luis, I texted you earlier. I saw one reviewer. It was just one sentence, and it said, after watching the first 2 episodes of Ahsoka, I realized that the Obi-Wan Kenobi show was shot on an iPhone. And that just made me laugh, because this Ahsoka show is brilliantly shot. Everything feels very atmospheric. It's not just like, we're not just like in the sands. When Ahsoka is going to find this map, you feel like, okay, this is a ruin within a very big world. It looks like there's more to it than what you're just seeing in the foreground. So I really like that. So far, that's probably my favorite thing, is that the difference between this show and some of the other Disney Plus shows is that it's shot very, very well.
Yeah. I think, another thing that can rival it is Andor. I think when I first saw that, it was like the first frame, I was like, I'm here for it. This is beautiful. They know what they're doing. But that was also a different tone of Star Wars. And I think this is beautifully shot, and it captures that Star Wars-esque essence. I think the only gripe that I might have is some of the on-set shots, like kind of when you feel like it's more in a studio-esque, like those things feel
you got
a little
volume, right?
Yeah, it feels a little bit flat at sometimes, but all like the establishing shots, all the wide shots, all the things where you see things in the like real in the background and foreground, they're utilizing the framing so beautifully. It's just those on-set shots sometimes where it just feels like flat, and then you're bringing in, like, look, no offense to anybody, and everyone's doing their best job, but when you bring in actors who aren't the main leads sometimes, and it could also be a director issue, and trying to make it feel natural and organic, just sometimes those scenes can be a little rough for me. But everything else, like, that's all those other beautiful scenes are drawing me in. Ed, is there anything that you saw that you liked that you wanted to talk about?
Exclusively what I liked,
or whatever.
Excuse me. I won't get into the negatives yet, but
we're gonna save those.
I have to agree. Yeah, because I got some things, but no, like I have to agree. Like visually, I thought it was it grabs your attention pretty early on. I like that they're kind of. I like the structure of them building up towards this. This ominous presence of Thrawn somewhere in the galaxy. They're trying to bring back this evil, and you got like the red herring kind of, or the MacGuffin that you're chasing kind of thing, and I'm curious to see. I'm curious to see where Ray Stevenson's character goes. The bad guy, if you will, the Sith. Yeah,
right.
Obviously dead But
would we
in
even
the show.
consider him a Sith? You know, is he a Sith?
Well,
or
that's
is
what
he-
I mean. That's what
Yeah.
I'm curious about, because, like, you know, sometimes you feel like they're just playing very loosely with this whole rule of the Sith kind of thing. Because, you know, I felt that with, like, the High Inquisitor. It's like, okay, how do we
So-
bring in more
right.
Sith without calling them Sith, you know,
Right,
because
yeah,
there's
yeah.
always that rule of two. So how are they going to play with that? Because this dude has 2 apprentices, essentially. Which I'm going to get to. That's another thing I want to get to. The other apprentice.
I don't know if the
because-
other guy's apprentice. I think he just might be like a fellow coworker.
I think that dude is the dude that they're looking for.
Ezra?
The brother
Ezra?
of what's her face. Yeah, I think that's Ezra.
I
They're
have
not
heard
actually
I haven't
related
watched
as well.
Rebels. Whatever.
I have heard.
She calls her brother or whatever. They're just like they keep like looking at it like whatever. You get my.
Yeah.
Most people would walk away from that thing feeling like familial, but yeah, I bet that's the dude, and they're gonna fight, and she's gonna like knock off his mask, and it's like,
That-
oh no, do I kill you? No.
So that's
Come
curious
back to the good
because
side.
it's a curious thing because I've heard the theory floating around, but also
Mhm.
the question is how does that happen when Ezra and Thrawn were together in a ship and they had these Miguel, don't lose yourself here. They're in a ship and they
It's
have these
so
like
close.
they
It's
have
so
these like
close.
force whales, okay? There's these force whales that can travel in hyperspace, okay? Just
I
follow
remember
along.
this. I remember this.
At the end of Rebels, it was Ezra and Thrawn together wrapped in this like force whale and they just shifted away very far into like the unknown, right? And Tim, I don't know if this is like, is Thrawn still supposed to be trapped in that unknown area? Is that what we're trying to say here? Or
Yeah,
like,
right. Because like if we're going
is
off
that
of these
map-
first 2
yeah.
episodes, they like Morgan Elsbeth. Which, first of all, that Morgan is the worst name for a Night Sister. Like they all have like very like unique, intricate names, and then the
was
remaining
thinking
Night
that too.
Sister witch is Morgan, and they try sprucing it up by calling her Lady Morgan. Come on.
Yeah, no,
anyway.
they might as well have called her Barbara or something.
Charlotte.
Anyway, so
Charlotte.
What's his name? Balin and Shin, they bring the map to Morgan and she opens it and they find that like, point A to point B where Thrawn might be. And it's like in a whole new galaxy. So like Star Wars has always been in a galaxy far, far away. And now now there's a second galaxy far, far away. So that opens up a lot of, wormholes essentially, but he is somewhere else.
That's my biggest
Miguel
question
just died a
too
little bit.
is what does Morgan want with Thrawn? What is her like end game?
What's her
in the
end
sense-
game?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
what does she want the Empire to come back? Does she want Thrawn? Does she want to create chaos? Does she want revenge because she is one of the last Night Sisters? Like, what do you think is going on with her?
They have a
motivation?
deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would more.
I
lean
guess
towards-
they. Oh.
Sorry, no, go for it.
No. I'm purely guessing, but you might actually know. So go ahead.
Mine's kind of a guess as well, but I would say that I would lean more towards them working together than anything like revenge related, because as we know from the Clone Wars, it was Palpatine / Dooku / General Grievous who took out the Night Sisters. It had nothing to do with the actual military. So I don't think she would hold a grudge against Thrawn, who, we know he's not a force wielder. He's just a very intelligent military leader for the Empire. So I would think that like maybe Morgan Elsbeth knew Thrawn before that battle on Lothal, where him and Ezra got taken away. And maybe she's trying to find him because he's like promising her something.
It seems like they're all out for their own games, because it's not like General Thrawn is a Sith Lord or anything like that. He's just a Grand Admiral of the Empire, so he's just like a high rank dude, right? And
Yeah.
he's blue.
And Miguel,
Dabba
we're
dee,
talking
dabba
Night
die.
Sisters here. You've we talk Night Sisters here, but you know a Night Sister
I do.
from.
Yeah, because I played Jedi Fallen Order and Jedi Survivor.
There you go.
Right, and
Did
that's
you see
that
did you see
girl.
any more? Did you see any similarities in the game that popped up in the show that you're like, wait a
did.
second, I know that.
I did. So first off, as soon as they mentioned Dathomir, I was like, I've been there.
Yeah.
Personally,
I that's where I got my dual wield lightsaber in the first game.
Yes.
And it was hard as shit.
Yeah.
They kept talking about witches, and so I was just kind of like, every time they mentioned a witch in a couple episodes, I was like, ugh, okay. At least I was following.
You knew what was happening. Yeah.
Also, I want to say they have that little like cat creature.
Yeah.
I think
cat.
that was in one of the games. What was it called?
So it's on the planet Lothal, and so it's a Loth cat.
A Loth cat. Okay.
Super original. But
And they also had they had a scene where she was using a little bit of that Echo Force or Force Echo when she she went to Sabine and she was like kind of hovering things and she heard like voices similar like Cal Kestis. Also the puzzles. It was almost like Zeppo. She was just like
taking me right back.
Those balls though.
Whoosh, dude, I'm telling you, the moment they bring Cal Kestis in to whatever show, I'll start watching for a little bit longer. Okay. Like I liked those games. I thought they were really fun. That's really the only Star Wars content that I consume, and then I'm like, oh, this is great. You know?
Yeah.
The rest of it is a little like, oh. Tim, my thing, and I've said this a lot to Ed and Luis, and I'm going to go on just a really quick tangent. But like, my thing is first off, I didn't grow up watching Star Wars, like hardly at all. But secondly, I just get, and more so, this is the main issue. I get so confused by this timeline of events. And I'm just like, I never know where I'm like, they started this episode and they were like, the Empire has fallen and the Rebel Alliance. And I'm like, okay, so like somewhere in the middle, right? Like Darth Vader, she mentioned Anakin. So like, okay, it's somewhere around that time frame, but it's all confusing to me. I can't ever keep up. And so I get bored and I phase out.
Totally understand that. No, so you haven't watched any. You've never even seen the original trilogy, which usually that's
no. I didn't say that. I've seen the movies. I just like I didn't grow up watching them. You know what I mean? It wasn't like I saw like a little bit here, a little bit there. Ooh, a lightsaber. You know, that's fun.
You weren't acting like you were a Jedi as you were watching the movie with your own lightsaber, thinking like I'm part of this movie. Never like that. Okay.
No, I did that with other things growing up. I was like Batman a lot, you know?
Right.
Yeah, it's just not for me. And every time I try to get into it, it's always a little bit of like a weird taste in my mouth.
Yeah. I think I've heard this comparison that if you're trying to get in, like if Ahsoka is supposed to be something that brings you in, at this point in Star Wars, it's like getting into Kingdom Hearts. Like it's just not happening.
It's like too much.
I understand that reference, actually. Okay, all right, good to know. I mean, I tried with The Mandalorian. I got a little bored. Obviously, the thing I've really engaged in was the video games.
You watched Obi-Wan all the way, didn't you?
I did watch Obi-Wan all the way, and the things that I liked about that show, I later come to find, people hate that. And I'm like, oh, okay, so I'm stupid. You know what I mean? Like I liked something that a lot of people don't
You're
like.
your own person. And I like that you went with the red and the blue light.
You really did do that.
That was a choice today, you guys. That was a choice. I'm glad I didn't want to say it. Okay, I love you guys.
You look like the intros of the Star Wars.
Find our YouTube channel to see what Miguel's face looks like.
Okay. So we're talking about other things that we liked about Ahsoka. Well, let's get into the things, maybe the nitty gritty things that pinch us a little bit. All right, Ed.
Does anybody else feel like Rosario Dawson is just a little spacey and, to use your word, Luis, a little flat as this character? Did something terrible happen in Rebels that made Ahsoka into low-key boring? There is a lot of dead air in these talking scenes where it's just looking at her blank eyes, and I'm just like, What? Why?
There's a lot of,
Why
there's a lot
did
of
they
arm
choose
crossing.
This? There is, and slowly too. It's not just like natural body movements. It's
There was
like,
one shot where
oh,
they were crossed arms, and literally they did this. Like, they just like got out of crossed arms and then got back into crossed arms again. And I was like,
and
are we doing this?
her poncho drives me nuts too. I'm just like, yeah, how are you whizzing around like that?
It's more aerodynamic.
They would have like singed it by now with those lightsabers. Yeah, she didn't have like much room to shine in like Boba Fett and or the Mandalorian.
It feels like the difficulty of trying to carry the weight of an important titular character like Ahsoka. It's like you need to carry the gravitas and the importance of this character that everybody loves, and now go. And she's not as spunky as she was when she was younger. She's been through a lot of shit, and so she's kind of a little bit more reserved. She doesn't really want to attach to anybody. She's to herself. She's kind of protecting herself, creates a wall. But I know what you're saying in that sense. Like when you're watching the performance, you kind of want a little bit of, I don't know, something to gravitate you more towards the character, right?
Yeah. Because the other character, like in comparison, what is the other girl with the multicolored hair?
Sabine.
Sabine.
Sabine with the B, right?
Sabine. Sorry, she's. I was saying it in the French way. She's a little bit obnoxious.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We agree. Okay.
But like, weirdly enough, the two main characters are rubbing me the wrong way. I just, I want the focus to be on Ahsoka, like we were talking about earlier, but not if it's gonna be like,
I'm hoping that since we got
Flower.
past this whole like, I don't like you, I don't trust you, like, well, you abandoned me and I abandoned you. Now that we've kind of like, okay, we're kind of
now
coming
you're
together
my
again.
apprentice again. Wink.
Yeah, now exactly. Now that we have them together, hopefully they can bounce off of each other a little more playfully. You know what I mean? I understand that everyone's gone through like a traumatic event here, but we still gotta like
get over it.
I love this idea
of Star Wars.
I love this idea from you guys that you're like, okay, we get it. Like you were taken out of the Jedi Order. Your master became the most evil person in the whole galaxy. But like, can you not?
Yeah. Can you like cheer the fuck up?
No, you're so right. Okay, I get it, but I need a couple chuckles here and there. Okay, I grew up on Marvel. I need to laugh every 5 seconds. No.
Like her robot friend has more whimsy than she does.
I'll agree with that.
Which I guess is the whole point of droids, but as far as Star Wars is concerned. But
correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't like Rosario Dawson, like, wasn't she like a big fan cast?
Yes.
Like people wanted her to play Ahsoka, and then Disney was like, and guess what?
Yeah.
We'll do whatever you want. We'll do whatever you want.
Please that's what it feels like. It feels the same way like when John Krasinski showed up in Multiverse of Madness. You know what I mean? It was like,
oh yeah,
okay, yeah, all right, okay. Because Rosario Dawson's a great actor.
Yeah, she's great.
But it's
that's what
I don't think
I don't think it's necessarily on her.
Yeah,
I think it's more
agree.
of like Dave Filoni is now having to work with real people, thus he's coming out of this dark cave and into the real world.
And it's tough. Like that's why we keep saying the visuals look great, but then the kind of the tone and the performances are a little off because that's a director. You're supposed to orchestrate
engage
how people are flowing between. Like you can have a character who's a little bit dark and sodden, but then you need to have like something to bounce it off of. And so I resonate with what you're saying, Ed.
I also feel we were talking about the lightsabers earlier. The design didn't really bother me. I appreciate maybe they turned down the LED lights or whatever in the lightsaber, so it's not just like these bright blue colors or whatever. But the fighting did seem a little frigid.
Which character
anybody else feel
did
that
all
way?
of it? I think some of them, like Baylan was, I think, purposefully.
Baylan was just like, if I do this and this, it will deflect any thing coming my way.
I think they're supposed to like show that he's like more controlled and not as like hectic as like the Padawan.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I see that. I mean, I think it's hard. It's hard to do that stuff. Like
it's a hard thing.
Who's the guy? The Darth Maul character. Like we were all spoiled by that actor.
We were
because he was so fucking amazing. As like, I know because he
did
dedicated.
it with 2 blades. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know they're probably building to something greater too, and I will say to their credit, maybe. I will say to their credit, the fight between Sabine and the not Sith lady, Shinazi.
No,
Shin
Hati.
Shin Hati. Yeah.
Not Shin Nazi, Ed.
She's a Nazi. Got it. I thought like that. I don't know. It was like in and out. I appreciated that Sabine is out of action, or has been out of action, I guess, as far as swordplay.
Can we talk about her getting stabbed again? Like, how many times are people going to get stabbed and then not die? We've done this before.
That was when I texted you guys earlier, and I was like, I'm 5 seconds into the new episode, and I'm already over it. It's because why didn't she just die? And better yet, just don't do this. Like, if you're gonna keep this character,
why put them in peril at all? Yeah, why put them in peril at all?
I thought it was a stronger choice to absolutely kill her right then in that moment. And
you would have given Ahsoka an emotional.
Exactly.
Drive.
I mean, I felt like they were queuing it up for it. They had a couple of good lines back and forth about abandoning each other. And I know Luis was like, okay, let's get through this. But it was also like, okay, that's like at least a good motivation for this character. Yeah. And like, if she had just died right then and there, I thought the shot looked great of like her running up to her and then it cuts to the credits before she gets there. I loved that. I thought that was great. But I was just so like, oh, great. The very first shot, we're going to see her. She's fine. And of course, it was like, oh, I'm recovering.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay.
The great Qui-Gon Jinn.
Qui-Gon Jinn.
And then...
So,
they really overplay... Go ahead, sorry.
So when I first watched it, I remember thinking the same thing. I turned to some of my friends I was with, and I was like, because the whole theaters got quiet. Everyone initially was like, what? And then the credits come up and everyone's just sitting there. Everyone's just sitting there waiting for them to play the second episode in the theater, and it's just quiet. And I like turned to my guys. I was like, "She's not dead." Like it's just it sucks that we've gotten to a point with Star Wars where like that is supposed to be an impactful moment where you're supposed to have that reaction where you're like, "What?" But we've gotten to this point where now it's just like I don't feel anything because you're gonna, like Miguel said, you're gonna be there in 2 minutes into the next episode. But
that's right. And oh, sorry, go ahead.
I'll finish with saying, but the one thing that I think they did right with that, although I'm done with the trope, the one thing that they did right was that Ahsoka, as you said, the end shot was Ahsoka running up to Sabine. So the difference between that and Qui-Gon is that they had no fast chance of getting him any help. Sabine did have a chance of getting help. I'm done with the trope, especially after Obi-Wan Kenobi, where Reva admits that she got stabbed twice. Once as a child in Order 66, and then once. Not only was she stabbed twice, she was stabbed twice by the same person. Once as a child, and then later in his most peak form. You're telling me he's not just directly killing someone off? And I know people, cough cough, my dad, who's like an apologist for this. He's like, no, when you get stabbed, that's immediate cauterization. And I'm just like, no, it's not how how it works.
Okay.
Because we also know
Qui-Gon.
Speaking of Qui-Gon, the beginning of the Phantom Menace is them trying to get through those barricaded metal doors. And he takes his lightsaber and he pushes it through, and the door fucking starts melting. What happens when that is put into a person?
Tim, you're on that shit today, dude. Good job.
So sometimes I get annoyed.
Absolutely. And that's how I felt, because I felt like like, oh my god, she's dead. That's it. And then the I don't know what it was, something about them cutting to black before she got there. I was like, okay, it's one of those things, like if you don't see the death, she'll come back, you know. It was I was
I knew it instantly. I was just like, they're just not going to kill her that soon. The only show that has achieved that thus far is Clone Wars. Like, when they kill characters in Clone Wars, they're fucking dead.
It's no joke. It's no joke.
It's no joke. There's straight up murder. And then the Andor too.
Yeah,
you just didn't see characters again.
How
big time in Andor.
And unceremoniously killed. They were just like, that dude was the main character, and then he just completely dies
dead.
without it. Yeah.
See, I like that. I see it like.
It's
like I'm off that Game
Wars,
I'm off that Game of Thrones shit where it's like any character should be able to die at any point. Yeah, sure. You know what I mean? Yeah. And if it's impactful, then let it be impactful. You know what I mean? Agreed. And move on from it, not just like shock value, then bring it back and be like, psych, never mind.
To the opposing side of that argument is that how much are we not collectively not really enjoying the Secret Invasion show? But that's how that show starts, right? We have a quote main character in Maria Hill who is just offed, and that show tanked. Not because of that moment, but it didn't help it.
Right. No. Yeah. That one, sometimes it doesn't feel like this would have been a weird death too. Like, it's just a weird situation. It wouldn't have felt earned.
Yeah.
Just kind of like trap her somewhere, like have the building fall on her. I don't know.
Just write something else.
Yeah, exactly.
Just do something different. Thank you.
These writers are like up all night for 10 days straight. Like, we're trying. Well, I got it. Before we move on to like kind of this next section, I just wanted to call out that one of my favorite characters finally got to show up. Yes, he showed up a little bit in Rogue One, but he made a bigger appearance in this one. My boy Chopper.
He was a scene stealer.
He was good.
He is a scene stealer. He is the fucking best. After I finished the show, I was like, I'm buying this little toy from this person.
Oh. That's really cool.
He's great. And Dave Filoni does the voice of Chopper.
Yo, what I loved about him was it felt like as I was listening to him, I was like, damn, can I understand robot? Like,
yeah.
That was so good. I mean, it was just, it was probably just like really simple to do. He's just like talking in like robot voice, you know what I mean? But like just humming or something. And then it's just like kind of whatever, vocalizing them, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it was just, that was fun. That was fun to listen to.
Tim, thank you so much for coming, dude. Talking to Ahsoka. I know we are going to keep watching it. I know Ed will keep watching it. Miguel, just get in the back seat and enjoy the ride.
I'll keep listening about it. If something cool happens, you tell me, okay?
Okay.
And you could look it up later.
Yeah, just go on YouTube. You'll see that one scene.
Odds that one scene. I was gonna say, like, I'm on the internet like religiously, so I'll just see whatever it is. Don't worry.
All right. Thanks, Tim. Okay, and we're back to talk about what we're into. We're going to do this quick section, then we can go home. Actually, we're already home, so what am I talking about? Miguel, I got to come right to you.
Oh, no.
I need to know what's going on.
Okay.
You saw Blue Beetle.
I did see Blue Beetle.
We didn't see Blue Beetle, but you did. What happened?
I was surprised. First off, excuse me. I've been drinking this entire episode. I'm surprised that I couldn't get either one of you to go see this movie. Like, Luis especially, because you have the AMC pass, you have the AMC subby, and you live like a block away from an AMC. You talk about going all the time for bullshit reasons. Like, why couldn't you see Blue Beetle? You know? Like, it's fine. Kristen was telling me, a friend of hers, someone she knows, lives in Austin or something. And has the AMC subscription? No, the Alamo Drafthouse subscription service. And she says she's single and lives by herself, and some nights she just goes out and watches a movie so she can eat dinner. You know what I mean?
Queen. What a life, dude.
Tell me about it. Like just being like, oh, Like, imagine if you were like, "Ah, I just want to go somewhere for dinner, but at that same time, you could also
That is
watch a
Watch
movie.
a
awesome.
movie.
And they have so many options.
That's
Why
happy.
am I thinking
Can
that's
I-
like that's a legit
Hey.
life choice right there?
I know you're asking me about Blue Beetle, but can I talk about something,
Yes.
the experience for a second, okay?
Yeah.
So I went with Eric Jew. Shout out Eric Jew. He's
Shout
in
out.
Colorado for the last month or so. So we've been kind of hanging out. We saw Barbie together. And he hit me up and he was like, "Hey, when are we seeing Blue Beetle?" And I was like, "You know what? Fuck it, let's go." And I asked him. I said, "Whoa, what side of town are you on? Like, what AMC is closest to you?" And he texted me the AMC Dine-In that was down the block from him.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Dine-In? Like, okay, that's fun. Like, I love Fandango." I'm sorry. Oh my god. I always call. I do this literally every time I talk about it. Alamo Drafthouse. I always call it Fandango because that's where I'm at. Anyway.
Okay.
Alamo Drafthouse, what an experience, first off. Like, I love the vibe. I love going. I love eating and drinking and watching a movie. It's like a whole fun experience. And one of the things about getting the AMC subscription is, boo, you can't get that experience anymore. AMC Dine-In, boom. I'm sitting here thinking, let's go, baby. All right, I'm about to get my Alamo fix. What a ripoff, dude. AMC Dine-Ins, do not go. Here is the bullshit, okay? If you're familiar with Alamo Drafthouse, you go, you sit in the theater.
Okay.
You place your order with the server. They bring it to you. You never leave that experience, right?
Okay. Yeah.
AMC Dine-In, you walk up to the concession stand, okay? You place your entire order, everything you want. You place it right then and there. They bring it all to you one time in your seat in the theater,
Okay.
and then you never see them again.
So you can't get like, I like a little bit more dessert, or I like a little bit more
Nothing.
another round of apps, or give me
You
another
have
beer.
to know. You have to know. I want 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 items throughout the course of the meal. I need to order all of them right now, and they're going to bring it to me right at
That's
the
a
front.
bummer. That's a bummer.
Dude, it was lame. All right, don't do it.
Okay.
All that to say, you know what, Blue Beetle, you're not going to love it, okay? You're not going to hate it either, though. I would say this. You're not going to hate it. It is fun. There are some pretty fun moments. There are also a lot of moments that you've seen before. You know what I mean? Ed, earlier you were talking about Rebel Moon, like the hand through the wheat field or whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, how many times am I going to see that? This is a movie where it's like a lot of moments happen and you go, okay. Eric and I were talking about it and he was telling me it felt like a lot of like Iron Man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, this is kind of DC's Iron Man moment, but it's like that's already been done. So who cares, you know?
Yeah.
I think the cultural impact was a lot of fun. I think these characters were good. I think a lot of people are either going to like or hate George Lopez. I had a great time. I grew up on George Lopez, so I mean,
Yeah.
I was kind of cracking up at a lot of the shit that he was saying. Surprisingly tender moments. I don't want to give too much away, but I couldn't believe there was this one or two special moments where I was like, oh my god, like I can't believe that's what we're doing in this Blue Beetle movie, a character who I had no idea about, except a year and a half ago when they first announced him. So listen, if you want to wait to stream it, just fucking wait to stream it. Luis, you have the subscription. You get 3 movies a week. It's right there. Like, and
I know.
Like
we might go see it. Okay?
I think Sarah would like it too, to be honest.
I want to point out that I've just been busy lately. Not that I was planning on seeing it. You're right, but
You weren't.
I'll watch it eventually. I just, I just got back from Minnesota.
Here's the thing.
Sorry, my sister, I don't get to see much. I'm gonna go see Blue Beetle right quick.
No, of course, and baby, no, I understand wholeheartly. Okay, and I don't want to talk more about it because I just why. Okay, like settle down. I don't want to overtalk it because my hope is that you both do it. Maybe we'll do like a streaming review when it comes out. Okay,
yeah.
Movie night.
Yeah, let's do it. It's fine. Was it the worst DC movie I've ever seen? No.
Question.
Right.
How about this question?
Okay, go ahead.
Well, which one ranks higher? Blue Beetle or The Flash?
I knew you were going to say that. Okay. Also, shout out Eric Jew. He was telling me he liked The Flash. He didn't think it was as bad as the internet, or maybe I'm putting words in his mouth, but he was essentially saying he did not think it was bad and he had a good time. I think both of these movies are just kind of affected by like the the stank that's on DC's name right now.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
You automatically want to be like, nah, that movie sucks. But it doesn't. It's not bad. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I would say, me personally, I liked the Flash a little bit more. I'm gonna be a Flash. Tim was talking earlier about being a something apologist, and that's what I am for the Flash. Okay,
Yeah.
like whatever, you know, if you didn't like it, you hated it, whatever. I enjoyed it. I had a great time. Blue Beetle, I think, was fun. And do I think this is the cohesive, like, James Gunn, whatever, Peter Safran DC? No, this was obviously pre that. I also didn't stay for the post and mid credit scenes, so I don't know if they allude to anything after that.
Right.
So
yeah.
I had to pee way too bad, but
That's fair. Funny enough, I got super high, and I was like, "This is the night. This is the night it's happening." And I finally watched Black Adam.
oh no.
I was just like, it was like, I don't want to watch a good movie, and I don't want to watch season 4, and I don't want to watch I don't want to be invested in something. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to think. Like, I just want to be like something familiar, something that that's newish, something that's not, whatever. And so I was like, okay, this is the moment. I'm really high. I can watch Black Adam. I can just like bathe in this. And I think that there is an okay movie in there if you let me edit it. In fact, I want to edit this movie for you guys and say this is the Luis cut, so that you can have a okay time. You know what I mean? Like, with the movie.
First off,
there were moments where I was like, "Oh, we're doing that." Okay, yeah.
First off, I just want people that are listening that maybe don't know Luis, then maybe they go in that moment, wow, that was a very cocky thing to say. Luis is very good at what he does. Okay, like that was not arrogance speaking. That was like that was just truth, man. Luis is really good at that shit. If you want to see something, just a little taste, go watch that Doctor Strange music video we have on our YouTube channel. Okay,
Yeah.
4,000 plus views. Shout out Luis.
Is that 4,000? Hell yeah.
Plus, dude.
Dude, fuck yeah. I will say
this. One of our listeners, and Ed and I know him, Benji Cooksey from Houston, Texas.
Okay.
Me and him were talking about Blue Beetle recently and how he hasn't seen it yet, but me and him got into a really good talk about DC, and I told him he has to come on. So if we want to do like a DC episode, let's get Benji on, because he's going to see Blue Beetle and we'll be able to kind of chat about it all together. Okay. So this is this is me on the episode priming.
Are you telling me I need to rewatch all the DCEU movies?
God no. No, but he had really good insight. You know what I mean? And I feel like the conversation. It'll be easy to have.
Yeah. Well, okay. I guess we'll wait till Blue Beetle comes out on streaming.
Okay.
I watched Superman Returns the other day, just like for the sheer hell of it. You know what I mean?
Did you want to go back the first time, or was it
No, I saw that one in theaters. That was my first Superman movie, actually.
Yeah.
I haven't seen the originals with Christopher Reeves. So I want to go back and do that too, is watch his movies. Maybe the first one anyway. But yeah, so okay.
Oh,
yeah, DC. Let's do a DC chat.
We'll do a DC episode. That's what I'm talking about.
That was my point of bringing that up. It's just like, if we're reflecting on DC right now, why not?
Yeah,
let's do it.
Ed.
Oh, that's
ahead.
it. No, I was gonna say that's it.
Oh, okay, that's it. Goodbye, Ed. What was what are you into? What'd you do?
All right. So before I dashed off to Minnesota, the last week, Oldboy was celebrating its 20th anniversary. I guess before I get into this movie, have either of you seen Oldboy?
I have.
Yes, 20 years
One
ago.
time. Yeah.
Okay. So, but you guys know what happens in all of that.
Yeah.
I know the main.
Anyway, so they had a theatrical run and to celebrate, and so I took our friend from the Movie Gap, Bryce Perkins, to go see it because he hadn't seen it. And I was so excited for him because I remember the first time I saw that movie.
Yeah.
And to get to see it on the big screen, what's more, was really cool. It's still obviously very fucked up, but that movie is just so good. It's so good, like visually amazing. I've been listening to the soundtrack this week too, but and Bryce was like, there was a moment where you find out that the woman character, was his daughter all along, and Bryce looked at me as they were building up to it, and he just looked at me and was like, "No, dude."
Yeah,
I was just like, yes. I mean, yeah, it was a good experience. It was fun, and it had a pretty good audience too.
Love it.
I was surprised. It actually like doubled its domestic run from when it released back in 2003.
Oh wow.
So that was pretty cool to see. So just a shout out to Oldboy. If some theaters were playing it through the weekend, but if people haven't seen it, I would implore you to go and see it. If not in the theater, just seek it out. And then
What are you looking at, Ed?
nothing. Sorry, my light over there is flickering a little bit.
Is a ghost entering your dimension right now, Ed?
Maybe. No, sorry,
Yeah.
I got distracted. But anyway, go see Oldboy. It's awesome. It's one of the best movies ever.
Hell yeah. Old Boy.
Hell yeah.
Did you watch it on at Regent?
Regal, yeah.
Regal. Regis,
Yeah.
what's that?
The Edward Screenway.
So what I'm about to talk about is not a movie, a TV show, or a food.
Luis.
Me and Sarah started playing It Takes Two.
Yes, dude.
This is the what's it called? Couch co-op game where you play as two adults who are about to have a divorce, right?
Yeah.
And then you get miniaturized, and you have to find a way to become human again. And on the way, maybe you start
Falling in
bonding
love.
again. You fall in love again.
Did you guys
is
finish it?
No, we have only gotten 2 levels in. we've only faced 2 bosses.
That's awesome.
We faced who was the first one?
Like a
vacuum.
toolbox. The
There was
vacuum.
the vacuum
Yeah.
first, and then goddamn that toolbox. It's kind of tough. It's kind of.
Baby.
I said, Sarah, don't worry. I'm gonna just adjust the difficulty real quick. Bloop,
No.
bloop, 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 bloop. So we got to keep going. We can't really adjust the difficulty on this game.
Wait. Oh, okay. So it is a video game. That's
It's a
why
video game, yeah.
I was trying to look it up. I'm sorry.
It's a video game, and when Louis says you get miniaturized, you get like turned into these like wooden or clay dolls. And it's like your daughter is sad that you're getting divorced, and somehow like a curse is placed upon you. And the two main characters become these dolls, and then they have to work together. It takes two, right, to kind of work through their situation. We haven't finished the game yet either. Luis, I think you're playing this because I maybe mentioned a while back that you should play it, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And I remember telling you asked me like, oh, you said something to the effect of like, oh, is it like easy? Like, will it be good for me and Sarah to play? Yeah. And I was like, no, baby, it is so hard. And I cannot tell you, like, it does even out a little bit. Like, I feel like we took a break and then we came back to it. And even after that break, like me and Kristen were able to kind of pick it up. I think it helps that we played the same two characters. Like, you are like every time you log in, you can switch if you want.
Oh yeah.
I think it helped. Yeah, I think it helped that I was this character and she was that. So then, okay, she knew her role and I knew mine.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of fun, and there's a lot of really great dynamics. I think the worst level that I've played in the game thus far, you're about to play.
Why is it hard? Is it because it's hard, or is it just
a little bit of hard, a little bit of drags on? It's tough, but it introduces like a shooting element to it, which is kind of fun, and puzzle solving with the weapons that you're given.
Yeah.
But every time you advance forward a chapter, they like to play with the elements that you're in. So not only the world around you, but how you interact with the world.
When I was playing with the toolbox, they gave me nails and Sarah a hammer.
Yes.
So that was only for that round where we got to play with those tools.
Exactly. Later, I don't want to spoil too much, but later there's a size dynamic that comes into play.
Uh-huh.
Like the male character can get really big or really small,
Oh.
and she gets like an element where she can kind of like walk on walls and things like that. So it's
Oh.
like even beyond just like hammer and nails, that seems like they go together. They
Yeah.
really play with the combinations of like what the dynamics are. We say it all the time when we play the game. We literally, it will end a level or a piece of the game that we're playing, and we'll be like, "It takes two," you know.
Thanks, yeah.
It just takes two of us to get through this shit. It's a fun game, and I hope you guys.
Yeah. It really does, because you have to communicate as you're doing it. Like, okay,
Yeah.
hold, don't do it yet, don't do it. I'm on.
Yeah.
Okay, now go.
Yeah.
And then you have these, like, I'm trying to defeat this vacuum. She's sucking up all the bombs, and I'm like, okay, hold on, I gotta get on this other part.
You
of the
gotta be
vacuum.
there.
I gotta be there before you move forward, and then I have to be like, okay, Sarah, wait, I'm gonna throw those nails, and you're gonna jump. And so there's definitely a lot of like coordination happening, and communication.
I would pay money to see you and Sarah play this game. Okay, like I'll tell you this.
Why? Because we would just like.
It can be tough. It can be tough.
Yeah.
Me and Kristen, we were having a kind of a rough go at it, but we kind of found our rhythm. Like I'm used to playing. I play video games all the time. She doesn't play them as much, and so when we first started playing it, there was a bit of a like, hey, like I was feeling like, hey, you understand what we're doing here, right? Like, you know what I mean?
Yes.
And
yeah.
so, and that kind of gave me the moment to be like, okay, I need to have a little bit more patience. I'll tell you this though. Playing with my son sees us playing it, and so then he wants to play, and I've never been more angry in my life. Like when me and him play like Mario or Donkey Kong or Crash Bandicoot or something, like it's like it's okay if we're like whatever.
Yeah.
But this one, it's like you the other person has to be just as good as you know what I mean? Like you're only as good as you both are together. And I told him, okay, do this, do this, you know what I mean? And it was just like, I was like, turn the game off. Like we can't play, you know what I mean? Yeah. But I'd rather play literally anything else. Let's go outside and touch grass. You know what I mean? Like, like I love you, but this isn't working out. You know? So shout out is, I'm glad you guys are playing. I've always really appreciated that Sarah and Luis play games together, because there was such a long period of our lives where Kristen would not play a video game with me, and there's been those like few little moments where it's kind of fun to play with your partner. Yeah,
it doesn't happen a lot. We were trying to find another game because we were really into the Lego game, like both of us, and that was a game where like but I could potentially kind of make sure we get to the next level. You know,
exactly.
And then you're kind of helping out, and it's helpful and it's nice, and we're having a good time together. And then we couldn't find a new game to play, and now we're playing this one. But yeah, like I said, this takes both of our effort. Like we both have to be equally good. So it's a
great game.
She's finally nailing down the jump dash feature for a long. Like at the very beginning, she's like, "Wait, what am I doing?" Like it's a classic move. We're gonna utilize this all the time. Jump dash.
What I love about this game and kind of games like it is that every level is challenging. It's not like they give you the first 2 or 3 levels to get good and then you kind of coast, you know?
Yeah.
There's always some new dynamic that makes you go, shit, I kind of have to relearn how to play this game with you.
Right.
So keep at it. I think the next level, the bug level, is one of my least favorite parts of the game.
Okay, hell yeah.
But the level after that is really fun. So, have a good time with it.
Stay tuned as we continue playing It Takes Two. We'll talk about that. Hopefully, we'll watch Blue Beetle. We'll talk about that. And next week, what are we talking about next week? I actually don't even know.
We're off. We're off next week.
Are we off next week?
One of us is.
I'm off next week. That's right. I won't be there. But maybe you guys will be there. But I don't want to pressure you. But who knows?
Let us know what we should talk about in the comments right now down below.
Yeah. Prove that you listen to us.
And if you look right here, that's where you can click on.
No, that's how it's gonna happen. Go on social media. Tell us. Yeah, maybe this is like a wild card episode. Tell us what you want Miguel and Ed to talk about. They'll have a discussion unless something pops up.
We've
but
still
yeah,
got like another month till our summer blockbuster's over, right?
no.
Oh, we didn't talk Summy Nummies.
We didn't talk.
We don't
Summer
have
Zombies.
to now. Fuck it.
But hey, just real quick, who's still winning?
Sound of Freedom.
Oh,
Ed did listen. Ed did listen to that episode. Let's go.
No, find out next week with the new updates. I'm sure everyone is staying in the same place. I'm not looking at them at all. No, I think, let's see, not next week, but the week after, the 6th of September. That's when we record. But September 8th, when the episode releases, that's when we'll have our final Summy Nummies Summer
Summy
Box
Nummies.
Office
Okay.
winner announced. And then that winner will then decide what we should watch. That's kind of like the prize. We're all kind of forced to watch it. Maybe we can have a discussion.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pick the entire run of Salad Fingers.
God damn it, guys. Have you seen Salad Fingers, Ed? All right, hit us up at Punch Drunk Nerd. Hit us up at Punch Drunk Nerd. Hit us up at Punch Drunk Nerd and tell Ed and tell us that we got to review Salad Fingers. I think they made some new videos recently, didn't they? I didn't watch them.
I'll watch all of them.
We'll watch them. Okay, until next time, it's been me, Luis Gonzalez.
And Miguel Sanchez.
And Deadpool.
And until next time, cousin, you are Kenuff.